All right, let's dive in. We're about to pry open some of the government's most secret files to uncover operations that are so bizarre, they seriously sound like they were ripped from a spy movie script. The only difference? These were all shockingly real. You know, you hear the term conspiracy theory thrown around all the time, and yeah, most of them are just that, theories. But you've got to remember that a healthy public distrust, well, it often comes from a very real place. Declassified documents have shown us time and time again that some of the wildest, most unbelievable ideas were, at one point, actually fact.
And that's exactly what we're doing today. We are not speculating here. We're opening the vault and using the government's own records to explore 3 declassified operations that push the absolute limits of legality, morality, and, well, even reality itself.
Okay, our first case file. The year is 1962. The Cold War is at an absolute fever pitch, and tensions are boiling over with Fidel Castro's Cuba, which, remember, is just 90 miles off the coast of Florida. The U.S. military desperately wanted a reason to invade, and they decided they were willing to create one themselves. So to really get what Operation Northwoods was all about, you have to understand what a false flag is. It's a trick, a deception, that's as old as war itself. You commit an act, but you make it look like your enemy did it. And in this case, it was the central pillar of a truly terrifying plan. The strategy was as simple as it was, well, morally bankrupt. Step 1. Commit acts of terror against American citizens on American soil. Step 2. Use the media to pin the blame squarely on Cuba. And Step 3. Ride that wave of public outrage and grief straight into an all-out war.
And let's be crystal clear about this. This wasn't some wild idea from a rogue general in a forgotten corner of the Pentagon. No. This plan was drafted and signed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the absolute pinnacle of the U.S. military command.
The specific ideas they came up with are just breathtaking. The memo suggested hijacking civilian planes, sinking a U.S. naval ship to create a new Remember the Maine moment, and even staging a terror campaign in American cities, complete with fake funerals for fabricated victims, all just to manipulate the American people. Thankfully, this insane plan had one final hurdle: the president. The proposal was presented directly to John F. Kennedy, who was reportedly just appalled. He shot it down, flat out rejected it, and not long after, he removed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs from his job. The plan was then buried for 35 years. So, if Operation Northwoods was a horrifying plan that was stopped, our next case file, Project MKUltra, was a horrifying reality that actually went on for 2 decades. This was the CIA's infamous and very real mind control program. What was the motivation here? Pure Cold War paranoia. After the Korean War, the CIA became totally convinced that the Soviets and the Chinese had figured out the secrets to mind control. So, in their minds, they had no choice but to start their own frantic race to master the human brain, by any means necessary. This thing ran totally unchecked for a full 20 years. 20 years of illegal experiments on unwitting citizens. And then, when the Watergate scandal blew up and threatened to expose everything, the CIA director ordered every single file on the project to be destroyed immediately. 149. That's how many separate sub-projects the CIA was funding under the MKUltra umbrella. Think about that. This wasn't some small contained experiment. It was a massive, sprawling, clandestine network of research going on at universities, hospitals, and even prisons all across North America. So who were the guinea pigs for these dangerous experiments? Well, they were ordinary American and Canadian citizens who had no idea what was happening to them. People were dosed with LSD and all sorts of other potent drugs without their knowledge, without their permission, often with absolutely devastating and permanent psychological damage. And if you want to know just how bizarre and unethical this whole thing got, look no further than a little sub-project called Operation Midnight Climax. I'm not making this up. The CIA literally set up its own brothels in San Francisco to lure unsuspecting men, drug them with LSD, and then have agents sit behind two-way mirrors watching what happened, all in the name of research. The order to destroy all the files almost worked, but not quite. Somehow, through what seems to be a clerical error, about 20,000 pages of financial documents were saved by mistake. And that little paper trail was all that congressional investigators needed to blow the lid off the whole shocking program. Okay, we've seen a sinister plot, we've seen illegal experiments,
For our final case file, we're shifting gears from the sinister to the outright strange. This is the story of how the US government spent over $20 million trying to weaponize psychic powers.
No, you heard me right. We're talking about top-tier intelligence agencies, the DIA and the CIA, investing millions of taxpayer dollars into a concept called remote viewing. That's the supposed ability to see a person, place, or thing anywhere in the world using only your mind. And look, these weren't just little lab tests. The team of psychic spies at Fort Meade were given actual, high-stakes intelligence missions. We're talking things like find kidnapped hostages, track Soviet nuclear subs, and even peer inside top-secret military sites, all from a quiet little room in Maryland.
So this, of course, is the $20 million question, right? After 2 decades of funding a squad of psychic spies, did the government actually get anything useful out of it?
Well, what was the official verdict? In 1995, the CIA commissioned a review, and the conclusion was interesting. It basically said that while the psychics had some surprisingly accurate hits, the results were way too inconsistent and vague to ever be used for real-world operations. So, the program was finally shut down.
So there you have it. A plot to start a war by committing terrorism against your own people, a 2-decade-long illegal mind control experiment, and a multi-million-dollar psychic spy program. All proven, all part of the public record now.
When you line them up like this, you start to see a picture of an intelligence community that was willing to go to the absolute extremes of deception, of science, and even of human consciousness itself. And they did it all in the shadows, completely hidden from you and me. And that, right there, is maybe the most unsettling thought of all. We only know about these things because of accidents, because of whistleblowers, because of failed cover-ups. We only know what they couldn't keep hidden. These are the secrets that got away. Which really just leaves us with one final, chilling question. If this is the stuff that has managed to escape the vault over the last 50 years, just imagine what kind of operations are being run right now, locked away in files that we may never, ever get to see.